Hello and welcome to Join Our Town. I'm your host, Tammy Jo Johnson. Join Our Town brings you the issues and problems that are faced in the local community with the hope of finding a solution. Our guest for this segment is Brent Currence, Outreach and Education Coordinator for the Ohio Attorney General's Office of Mike DeWine. He joins us today to share important information regarding missing and exploited children in Ohio, along with what parents should do if they find that their child has gone missing. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely. This is such an important topic and very, very prevalent in Central Ohio. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is at the Ohio Attorney General's Office.
Okay. Well, again, my name's Brent, and I'm a retired sergeant from the State Highway Patrol. And I started in my position with the Attorney General's Office in 2005 and have been there since. Currently represent our office on the Amber Alert Advisory Committee, the Interstate Search for Children Advisory Committee. I've served as previous president, vice president. I'm very involved in anti-human trafficking issues around the state. So, and I do a lot of training of public speaking on law enforcement, missing children, and domestic sex trafficking issues.
Wow, that's a lot. But it's such an important thing because it's happening so much, especially here. Do you have statistics for here in Central Ohio?
Well, I don't have statistics specifically for Central Ohio, but statewide we deal with about 18 to 19,000 missing children reports per year. Thankfully, most of those children are recovered quickly, and 80 to 85% of them are found within 24 hours. It's the children that are gone longer than the 24 hours that causes a tremendous amount of concern.
Wow, and as a mom, and I'm sure there are moms viewing this segment, you know, it's such a scary thing. And when you hear the word exploited, we have so many different definitions. Can you tell us what that means?
Well, I mean, there's multiple ways children can be exploited, and most commonly the reasons for exploitation are for sexual reasons or for monetary reasons. And it's usually committed by adults. Occasionally there are children that exploit other children, usually older children. But with the advent, with the popularity of the internet, the ability for adults to reach and to touch children, talk to children, allows the children to drop their guard a little bit, to trust the person that they're talking to, not realizing what the person's intentions are.
Right.
Even today, we still have adults that approach children in person, such as when they're walking to and from school, they're out with their friends, and when we do have child abductions, the biggest denominator was the child got into the vehicle.
Right.
The person will offer the child a ride. And then, of course, with the issues with runaway children, that puts themselves at risk to domestic sex trafficking. And with domestic sex trafficking, we estimate there's about 1,200 children currently being trafficked in Ohio.
Wow. So as an outreach and education coordinator, do you implement that internet safety talk into your talks?
Yes, when I talk to children, I talk a little bit about internet safety. That's really not my expertise. Our cyber crimes unit at the Bureau of Criminal Investigation under the Attorney General's Office will do some internet safety training. And we're part of the ICAC task forces around the state, and the local agencies are a part of the Internet Crimes Against Children,
Right.
Provide internet safety training to kids at school as well.
Wow. So do you find, and I know this is probably going to be a hard thing to hear, do you find that the majority of the children return home safe?
Oh yes, over 98% of the kids every year are found safe. And even that percentage is kind of misleading because at the end of the year we draw the line. And so if a child went missing just before the end of the year and we still hadn't recovered him, it doesn't count as that percentage.
Right.
But sadly, there's usually 1 or 2 children per year that's not found. If you look at our website at www.ohioattorneygeneral.gov/missing persons, we have at least 1 active missing person every decade from the 50s.
Wow. So tell us about this. I mean, parents are watching this, we know that, and we always wonder, what can we do to prevent this? What best case scenario can we put ourselves and our children in to help minimize the risk of our child being abducted or missing or exploited?
Well, actually, abduction's very rare, but it's always good to talk to your children about being safe. And a lot of times it's not the stranger that abducts the child, it's someone that the child knows, someone that's known in your community or your neighborhood. someone that the child feels okay to approach and not as fearful. But the National Center for Missing Exploited Children has a Take 25 program. That's where you take 25 minutes to talk to your child about being safe. And they have a lot of information on their website that you can use to talk to your children about that. Netsmarts.org also is through the National Center for Missing Exploited Children, has excellent programs for internet safety, just general child safety, and being safe and smart.
Wow.
So taking the time to talk to your kids, how they'll react, really gets through to them and helps them understand what they need to do in case it does happen.
And I think you brought up an important point when you're talking about that in most cases the child knows the adult, and in a lot of cases it's the other parent. Explain to us why that's illegal and just give us some general education on it, because I don't think a lot of people are aware that as a parent you can abduct and kidnap or exploit your child.
Well, sadly, we have about 30 to 40 what we call parental abductions per year. And usually that's where it's a divorce situation or the parents have not been married, but they produced a child. And, in many cases, we need a child custody order. And the only person that can issue a child custody order for law enforcement to be involved is the judge. And sometimes children are taken by Children's Services because of an unsafe family environment, home environment. And we'll have parents take the child. Either, they're upset with their spouse, they take the child. They're upset about the custody decision, or Children's Services decision, they take the child. And actually, of the 12 Amber Alerts we had last year, 10 were for parental abductions. Wow. And some people say because it's a parental abduction, there's no risk to the child, and that's actually very untrue.
It's very untrue.
That parents, especially the fathers, are more violent towards the children. In some cases. That's why the Amber Alert covers that if there's a risk to the child that we can substantiate.
Well, let's even talk about that further. So as a parent of a child in a situation where you're not married, how do you keep that child safe? I mean, because there's a lot of that, of course, going on. I mean, is it a matter of not allowing your child to go with a parent that's not on the birth certificate, or how does that work?
Well, protect yourself and actually protect both parents by having a clear understanding of when the child can be with the parent and so on. And to do that's through a court and to get a custody order through a judge.
Right.
And it's really to protect both parents in the situation.
So the parent doesn't get accused of abduction,
Right.
and then the parent doesn't let go of that responsibility.
Correct.
Wow. So when you're out and you're speaking on this topic, do you get a lot of concerns where children are being sold as human traffickers, or because I know that happens? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that's a very big issue or hot topic today. Now, and truly, we are all so new at this, from law enforcement, Children's Services, and all the nonprofit entities. We are still learning and adapting as we go, and things as things progress and as we get more involved in this, we're changing the way we operate and so on. But we understood real quickly right off, repeat runaway children. Usually it's a high-risk flag to us that children could be being trafficked. And when being in the position that we're in, and we know the number of kids, how many times they've been reported missing, and we started asking those questions, we were actually surprised the number of times we were hearing, yes, they are, yes, they are, yes, they are. And, of course, the kids in these situations are looking for love, security, someone to accept them, and because they're running away from a family issue, problems, abuse. And this person's offering that in the initial stages. They're offering that love and security.
And the child doesn't know better.
And the child doesn't know better. And then eventually it gets turned on them. And then when they try to leave the situation or they say no, that's when they are violently assaulted, raped, and threatened, and they're afraid to leave from that point on.
So what causes a child to be an endangered runaway versus just a regular runaway?
Well, in our eyes, all runaways are endangered runaways. If you look at our website, we don't have just runaways. They're all endangered runaways because all children, no matter their age or the circumstances, there's some type of risk involved.
Okay.
If they're very young, obviously they're sensitive to protect themselves, safety, security, so on. But we have children with mental health issues that are unable to take care of themselves, like an autistic child that wanders or takes off. But you also just have kids that are doing risky things or might be put in risky situations and not realize the danger that they put themselves into.
And let me ask you this, because I know this is a hot topic on social media because it's happening a lot here in Central Ohio, where children are being watched, or people are taking video or pictures of them in a location like a mall. And the stories go that, they're being sold or bidded on or something like that. And then the child is taken and they're put to sleep and they're taken to a whole different country. Do you know anything about that?
If it's occurred in Ohio, I have not heard of any of those circumstances occurring here in Ohio. Now, commonly what we will see is usually a younger adult male approaching young girls and having conversations with them. And if the girl doesn't listen to him and walks off, the male ignores them. But what they don't know is that's actually a recruiter for the pimp.
Wow.
And if they engage in a conversation, they think the guy's attractive, they like what he's saying, any of that, and they stay and talk to him, then they'll invite them to go to a party or go to a house and, and eventually work that way to entrap the kids.
So for our viewers who are youth, how do you detect that type of person? Is there a way to do that?
Well, be very smart about what you're doing. Make sure that your friend, if you go with someone, make sure you let people know. Obviously, let your parents know. Don't be going someplace with someone that you don't know.
Right.
Understand that this exists. Why would a 24-year-old male want to be talking to a 15-year-old?
Right, exactly.
That should be setting off flags to the child. If it sounds too good to be true, it just might be. Wow. Common sense, be smart about yourself and feel good about yourself. That's probably one of the biggest ploys that these guys manipulate is the self-consciousness that the kids have about the way they look, their hair,
Right.
Anything that they can work to manipulate the child, they will.
And if a person that's a standby suspect that a child is, being held against their will, or it seems kind of weird, is there a number that they can call?
Well, you can call the national hotline number, and they will guide them to local resources that's close to wherever they're at. Okay. Either it be a local law enforcement agency or a human trafficking nonprofit entity that's in the area that can best provide assistance depending on what they need.
Wow. I mean, you've given us so much. This is a very hot topic, and I was told that it was very, very high risk here in Ohio. So thank you so much for being here with us today and giving us the information you did. And thank you for the Ohio Attorney General's office, too, for getting involved.
Well, the Attorney General is very, very dedicated to protecting Ohio citizens and especially children. Yes. And, that's one of the tasks that, obviously is children being victimized in this is horrible. It's an ongoing victimization that goes on day after day after day.
Right.
And it's something that he's very involved in.
Well, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Coming up next on Joy in Our Town, COPD. Stay with us. We'll be right back.